What is happening, guys? It is Monday. We have literally just finished game week 2, and I don't want to spoil anything just yet, but I may have made some transfers. Potentially have made some transfers. Maybe. Possibly. And yes, I've got my bourbon. Oh, yes. Yes. And what bourbon and Monday stream wouldn't be... Oh, shit. Wouldn't be complete without virus protection popping up in the middle of your introduction. How is everyone doing? How was everyone's game week? What I was going to say was it wouldn't be complete without me not changing my camera until we start the whole thing. How is everyone? I seen someone got 71 points. 71 points. That's way too much. Right. Before we go into everyone's game week, I've got game week 2 breakdown. I'm going to go through everything that I've witnessed. I watched quite a few games this week. I'm also going to be going through my transfers and my thoughts and my plans and all that stuff. Ooh, that's a bit better. And finally, I'm going to go through your teams and make fun of you guys. Does that sound good? We okay? Let me read some of the chat. Who needs bourbon when you have Pepsi Max? Ew, Pepsi Max? That's disgusting. Get out of my stream. Can't wait to do Fraser and Martial. Always use protection. Oh, thank God. You had Pookie, didn't you? Yep. Yeah, Jim. So, Jimmy, Jim Bob, Jimmo. You were shouting Pookie last week. You were like, should I do it? Should I do it? And I was like, and then you did it. Look at you go. 32,000th in the whole entire league. I'm going to have to move this just a teensy bit. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, so what I do is I tend to move everything and sort everything out before, but like I was just finished watching the game, so I'm very interested to see how everyone's doing. I love that I'm changing all this shit like it's at the very start of the stream. That makes me really happy. Whoa. No, we're gonna just leave that. We're gonna leave that the way it is. That sounds good. So how did everyone do? Liam, you made it. Congratulations, buddy. I'm so proud of you. Thank you very much for coming. You got 38. You're going to cry. No, 38's fine. Jim got 71. KL Cop 7, 34. On 42. I finished with 41 points. 41 points. I'll show you guys in a quick second. And I'm sure that I haven't changed anything either, so I'm going to have to do that. But, like, I'm just about to unveil... Actually, you know what? We'll look at the points first. You guys can see that. Yeah, let's change the channel. All right. Game week points. Let's change that, because that's definitely not true. 41 points. Not bad. Not great. Not the best. Game week rank. I don't know that yet. Yet, so I'm just going to leave that. But my overall rank, I went up by 5,000, and you can do that. That's horrific. You can see that by doing that. We also have loads of commands. Also, thank you for whoever said congratulations on that subscriber button. Thank you very much. The subscriber button, this is the first week that I have it. Let's turn some music on. Right, now we're okay with the stream. How is everyone fucking doing? I am so excited to show you guys my transfers. I think you're going to hate it, which is absolutely fine, because after I did it, I hated myself for like 10 minutes. And then after I thought about it, I was like, no, every argument that I can think about is pretty good. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it. That was me. Good job. Your little affiliate. Thank you very much, Tom. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate everyone coming out. We've got like 10, 11 viewers like right away off the bat. As soon as I start streaming, that's awesome. I'm going to turn it down just a wee tad. So let's review game week 2. It wasn't the best. I could have done without that Martial goal, right? That Martial goal is really annoying because, well, actually, it might be a silver lining, right? Sozzington, how's it going, buddy? We're just getting into game week 2 if you've just joined in. My issue with game week 2 was obviously Gemso with the sub, first ever sub. Mate, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Look at you go. I don't know if it's... Oh, it is a Twitch Prime sub. I can see that. Look at me. Fucking full-time streamer. And I love that noise. Aguero! Just on Aguero, I've seen him in a few teams. Even is that? Why? It's the same price as Sterling. Anyway, Jimmy, Jim Bob, Jimmo, thank you so much. I feel like you're being generous because you hit 70 fucking points or whatever. And you're the top 50,000. Oh, you even get like a little emote there. Oh, that's so cool. I love it. Thank you so much, buddy. Someone's getting their team reviewed first. Thanks very much. So, game week 2. Everyone had a shit game week in terms of defense, except for Everton. And I don't mean that in like, obviously some people kept clean sheets, but like it was very close, and even Everton scored or nearly got scored into, right? I'm pretty sure a certain someone hit the bar. I'm not 100% sure if it was Deulofeu, but remember, we don't like him. He's pretty shit, so I'm sure it wasn't. Jota just blanked, Perez blanked, Fraser blanked, King managed to get something, but it was Kevin De Bruyne, Lundstrom, Pukki, obviously, Barnes, Cabellas, Trossard, Mane, loads of people that we're going to be talking about and diving into. It was Dawson that hit the bar. I see. Hey, Damien Pirate, how's it going, man? Bit late for me going to bed, but we'll watch the YouTube. Have a good stream. No worries, man. Yes. I'm gonna try and stream after the games on Monday. I feel like it's just too quick. I can't really do a 7 o'clock to half 8 and then miss some of the game potentially. And if I started earlier, I don't get in from work till like 6:30 anyway. So it's unfortunately that I stream Mondays. We could maybe change it to Sunday, but we'll see. Untradeable Crespo says, I'm so jealous of Lundstrom owners. Don't be. Let's see. Let's just quickly see. I can't actually look on that screen. I'll look on a different screen. I want to see, but I don't want to show you guys my transfers just yet. Tom, don't tell anyone who my transfers are. Okay? Please don't. I know I shouldn't have just said that because you probably will now, but just trust me on this. So we can go straight into it on the team breakdowns or the player breakdowns. I've done a bunch of stuff, but actually, you know what? Let's just start backwards. So, what did we think of the defense of Man United? I'm pretty sure that watching the actual defense, they were pretty good. The only goal that went in, the only shot that was kind of, close, that I witnessed, was the wonder goal, right? And the wonder goal, I don't think anyone could save. David De Gea is a great keeper. It needed a block. AWB looked great. Shaw actually looked okay. I'm very, very interested in checking his heat map because I want to see how attacking he was. There's a few other players in there that did well. I felt like Pogba was unlucky not to score the penalty. He was playing well. Like the fact that he made that penalty, that run into the box, that was pretty good. Excuse me. Wolves hit the post. That's true. But I mean, the defense as a unit worked well, and they were away from home, and Wolves are a pretty good attacking side as we've seen. But Jota was pretty silent. I didn't hear Jimenez's name, and to be fair, I wasn't watching 100%. I didn't really see a lot of the first half, but like, I need something more. I was reading the notes and I looked at all the stuff, and I'm trying to see if there's any reason for anyone to keep any Wolves players, and other than Dendonker, I don't see it. It was Jim Bob. Jimenez that hit the post. Dave can't be here long, but would you do Wilson to Barnes and Fraser to Martial? Yes. If that's all you can do. Fraser to Martial, Wilson to Barnes. I'm cool with that. Martial was playing up front. He was playing out of position. He was the spear. He's super cheap. He plays for a top 6 side. They have decent fixtures coming up. Like, Martial is a good pick, unfortunately for everyone else who didn't go for him. The only issue, obviously, is if you go for someone who has just risen in price, then it's going to cost you 0.5 million. Like we talked about last week, if you're going for someone with 0.5 million or 0.1 million more, you're going to have to downgrade a whole 0.5 million to get them. However, for you, Liam, what you just said, working, a price risen player. Price risen player? That sounds good. If you're working them into your team, it actually makes more sense to get other price risen players because you're using up that like 0.2, 0.3. And that's what it's for, right? Once you go, there's no going back. You've bought a player and you now have like pennies in change. So using those pennies is good because it keeps your value intact and as close to like the 0.51 million mark, etc. So yeah, I think going for Barnes is good. Barnes doesn't have great fixtures. So he's gonna be working on scraps for like the next 3 games. So we'll see, but Martial has got good fixtures and we can go into them soon and we can go see. But yeah, Martial, I liked him. I liked that he scored the goal. I liked that he nearly got a few other goals. Mamma mia! Welcome to the big, fat, sexy team. MC from SEO. Mick from Scotland, I'm assuming. Is that what that means? Or maybe Michael from Scotia? I don't know. I think it's Michael. I'm pretty sure it's Michael from Scotland. Welcome, Michael. How's it going? I just got your message. Thanks very much for the follow. Is AWB the best choice for a United defender? See, that's the problem. Like, I don't like fullbacks that don't attack. I've never really owned them. Like Azpilicueta last year, I would rather Alonso. At this point in time, I don't know if Shaw's actually better. I don't know if his heat map's out yet for this game. I'll just quickly check that because I would love to see how well he did in this game because I've seen him kind of bombing a little bit. Although I'm as everyone is, they're kind of frustrated with his. Oh, it is out. Holy shit, these guys are fast. Wow. All right, let's show you guys this. Oh my goodness. Bam. All right, so this is the heat map. This is on whoscored.com. We're talking about AWB being the best defender. You guys see that? Look at that heat map for both of them. That's good. That's good. Wan-Bissaka took that absolutely horrible shot. You guys all seen that, right? Liam, okay, thanks. I sent you my team anyway. We'll watch the rest of the stream tomorrow. I'll message at some point in this. Off to enjoy my holidays. Yeah, man, enjoy the holidays. I'll catch you later. Thank you so much for jumping in. Mate, thank you so much for jumping in. Who jumps in during their holidays to say hello to a stream? It's fucking awesome, man. I fucking love you. Thank you so much. Back to the heat maps. Right, so 115 touches for a fullback is unbelievable. To put that in perspective, Peters from Burnley this week had 44 or something like that, right? That's insane. That is a lot of moving up the pitch. Shaw, on the other hand, 95, that's still great. He was probably even further up. Dave, you need some custom sub badges and emotes. I'll DM you on Twitter about it. Yeah, I know, I haven't. Mate, there's been a lot of football, okay? There's been a lot of football. I haven't been paying attention to the stream. I'm still getting used to the fucking lights, let alone the stream stuff. Oh, my lights actually just turned off. Great. Awesome. Right. Well, we don't need my face anyway. He said after. I'm currently lacking in perks compared to Shaw, at least. Well, let's have a look at their attacking things from this game. I don't really want to look at the Chelsea game, because the Chelsea game was a bit of a one-sided affair, and I don't really think it represents Manchester United very well. Okay. Can we all see that okay? Maybe out one more. All right, so Wan-Bissaka, one shot, and we all seen that shot. It went well wide, so let's leave that. Key passes for Luke, 2 are none. Dribbles 2 for Mr. Wani B, no dribbles. And then let's go to the passing. Luke Shaw got 2 crosses off with 1 accuracy. Aaron with 1. Lost the ball 6 times. Shaw only 3. 77 passes to 88. So I feel like that just shows the difference in the work rate between Aaron and Wan-Bissaka, right? So he's always running. He's always running around doing everything. He's back. He's tracking players. He's marking players. He's always jumping in the way. He's almost impossible to get around. He's like a right back Van Dijk, and it's amazing. Imagine them in the same team. That'd be fucking amazing. So the difference is that Luke Shaw is able to like kind of stay up the pitch a bit more. He doesn't track back as much, although he is trying under the new kind of team tactics of like fluid defense, and it's kind of working. Although it was unfortunate that wonder goal. But I mean, what a goal to just wipe the smile off everyone who went for any defender's face. I love that. I only want United players because I'm scared watching not having any. Yeah, that's the main thing. Like there's a fear. I feel like there's a fear with Man City players, or Man United players, that just has never been there before. Like last year it was like, okay, let's get Rashford, he's pretty cheap. But if you didn't get him, you know, there was loads of other positions that you could have done. But in this way, like there was a lot worse that you can do, and there's not much better. Like Martial at 7.6 is still super cheap. So yeah, I feel like if you have him, amazing. If you don't have him, it's not the end of the world if you don't, but there isn't much better in midfield unless you go, you know, up. Okay, so Luke Shaw is more attacking than AWB, and he costs the same. But it doesn't look like they're using that width too much because they have Rashford and they have, you know, James, and they're kind of the width. And I feel like, and as you guys seen in that heat map, AWB and Shaw are kind of moving up to about, you know, just past the halfway line and kind of staying there and feeding the ball forward for the wingers to then come inside, right? There's not very many overlapping. You don't see Shaw too many times right down to the touchline, right? Or right down to the, you know, the end of the pitch. He's always kind of hovering back, and that's part of this new fluidity defense that old Gunnar Solskjaer is kind of like trying to implement. He was just lacking those center backs to like really kind of raw it out in there. So now that he has that, he's able to kind of push this idea forward that, you know, I want fluid fullbacks that aren't exactly going up. They're feeding Martial, they're feeding James, and then they're tracking back for the counter attack. Because it seems like that's their answer to VAR. We've seen Liverpool's answer to VAR was obviously to just have the highest defensive line of all time. And we'll fucking get to them in a second, right? We'll get to them in a second. So I don't think that I definitely wouldn't go for Shaw right now. But it kind of breaks my philosophy not to go for him over Wan-Bissaka. But having said that, and looking at the new tactics and watching the last game, Wan-Bissaka is going to get bonus points if they don't score a lot. And right now, they just haven't clicked up front. So, you know, only 1 goal today. 4 goals last week was definitely lucky. And we all knew that Wolves was going to test him a bit more. It's just a shame that Martial did score, because it gives hope to all those that kind of like jumped on him right away. So that's kind of annoying. Liverpool are such a pain in the arse. I want to ditch double defence, but I don't have the bollocks. Not many do have the bollocks, my friend. Not many have the bollocks to do that. Right, so let's move on. So in the end, Martial, I like him. Rashford's a bit too much money. And same with Pogba. Cheap options. Lundstrom, Celebas, Cantwell, all the 4.5 defenders that we talked about last week. I had another look at them to see if anything came up, anything that was different, and there wasn't much change. Only maybe Fredericks did a little bit better, but obviously Peters didn't get an assist like he did 2 the time before. etc., etc. So let's just have a look at Lundstrom now. I really want to go into this with like an open mind, because I know I'm all about the fixtures, and I know I constantly talk about the fixtures, and like that's my whole gimmick. I'm the fucking fixtures guy. I get that, right? If I was on wildcard right now, I would bring him in without question. He would be there instead of Kelly, and I would be happy with that, and he would probably be first on my bench for the rest of the season. Absolutely fine, right? He's not going to get a goal and bonus all the time, but the fact that he has that available to him is incredible. Absolutely. I would never in a million years go for a second 4.0 million defender. Ever. Secondly, I would never jump on a 4.0 million midfielder, or sorry, defender, unless A, it was helping me get someone who was really expensive, like Kevin De Bruyne or Mane or someone, or Sterling, whatever. And 2, I didn't have another 4.0. Does that make sense? So I've seen people being like, I'm going to bring him in, I'm going to add him so that I can get Kevin De Bruyne. But then I look at their bench and they have a 4.5 defender, Dunk, and they also have Rico or something, right? Rico didn't play. So right away you've already got someone in there. You're just sitting there. And it's just so hard to justify doing changes to your team when you have fires elsewhere. Does that make sense? So I hope that answers a lot of questions that we're going to have of him. Would you bring him in? Should I bring him in? Etc., etc. He's out of position. That's fine. His fixtures are shite. I'll even look past that. But there are so many better things that you can be doing with your transfers than moving in another 4.0 defender. It's just ludicrous. It's not going to happen every game. People are losing their fucking minds. All fixtures will be shite for Sheffield United, right? Just for fun. Let's go look at their fixtures, because I feel like that's the only way we can really identify just how rubbish it is that if you look at them in the flesh. Okay, this is Sheffield United without me even touching the machine, without even pressing any buttons. We've got Leicester next, who just kept Chelsea out, except for that blunder. We've got then Chelsea after that. Southampton's a decent game at home. They might be able to do something. But remember, Southampton, scored against Liverpool, however shite it was. Everton, I think that's a very hard match. Liverpool, obvious clean sheet loss. And then Watford away. Watford will most likely get their shit together by game week 8. But even if they don't, can we assume that Lundstrom is going to be, A, playing by then, B, playing out of position still, C, I mean, I it's probably likely, right? But all these things come into contention 6 game weeks from now. What if someone in the back gets injured and he needs to go back to his defensive positioning? What if Watford do get their shit together? It's an away game, so are they going to be playing as attacking? Blah, 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 blah. So all these things, you got to think about. Obviously, that was their first game in 12 years back at the Premier League. They're like, they have a massive boost to them, and he goes and scores. You can't write it. It's the narrative of the century, and I know that my rank right now is like 1.3 million, but see when all the bench comes into play, it's actually 1.4, and it's mostly his fault, right? Bloody Stones and all sorts of players that didn't show up. So I'm okay with that. It's not going to happen all the time. If you're transferring any of these smaller players in, it better be for someone big, not just for the sake of it. Not just because, he's the cheapest and he'll play out of position when you're sitting there with 2, Liverpool defenders or you've got Adrian in your team or something, right? There's so many things you could be doing with your transfers, or Perez or whatever. Just on Perez and Jota, there were so many people with them in their team when we were doing those Rate My Teams, and every single time I was like, we've talked about them, we talked about him and Delafeu and all those guys. They're rubbish picks. They have no fixtures. They're not going to perform well. We need to give them time, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going to take this opportunity to say that I'm bigger than that, and I'm not going to be saying, I told you so. So I'm just going to leave that out. We're not going to be talking about that, all right? We're not going to be talking about that. Okay, so the The next guy I want to talk about is Cantwell. Now, he's in a similar position to the old Lundstrom, is that he's the cheapest midfielder that you can get. Lundstrom also only played 10 games last year. If Sheffield changed his system, he's first dropped. Yeah, there's always worries about that. Benched 100% by his owners. Watch him score against Liverpool. I hope not. I definitely hope not. Southampton should have had more against Liverpool, to be fair. Yeah, that's the issue that I had, is that Liverpool have looked shaky in pre-season. They definitely looked shaky against Norwich, and then they looked shaky against Southampton. So I've made a change. I've made a little change about that. I'm pretty sure he was injured most of last season. Cantwell looks superb. Right. Thank you very much for jumping back in there. Cantwell played great, and I looked at his stats, and he did well, and he's playing high up, and he's only 4.5 million, and yes, he's a good pick, but he is in the exact same situation as Lundstrom, in that he's cheap as fuck. I would absolutely have him in my team if I was wildcarding. I absolutely wouldn't go for him unless it was to fund something else, and I wouldn't have more than 2 cheapest baseline players in my team. So like, I wouldn't have Dendoncker and him. I wouldn't have Kelly and Lundstrom. I wouldn't have Rico and Lundstrom. You know, like Dendoncker and Kelly, that's fine, different positions. But don't double up. You're just totally screwing yourself, especially since you're wasting a transfer for someone that's going to be sitting on the bench. It's just not worth it. But if you don't have Dendoncker and you've kind of got a 5 midfield, I would absolutely go down to him to fund a Martial or to fund a Kevin De Bruyne or whatever. Like, those are good choices, and it makes obvious sense to jump on the cheapest player. So fucking fill your boots, lads. Love it. Cantwell will be back on the bench, however. There's a lot of competition for his spot in the squad. The issue that I have is that I just don't know these players yet. I don't know Norwich or Aston Villa or Sheffield United, so it's hard for me to like say, we've seen it before. I've watched these players for ages. I haven't watched a single game of the Championship since, like, I think Aston Villa's win, and that was just the highlights. I don't really watch football unless it's for this or Celtic. So it's hard for me to sit here and lecture you guys. You guys probably know these players a lot more than me. But what I will say is that I know this game at least enough to know that the value that they represent is not worth the transfer that it's going to cost, and the baseline price that you're paying for them outweighs that extra position that you have in your team. Having Dendoncker and Cantwell means that you can only really have 3 midfielders, and that sucks ass. Safe for Ass says, who would be a good Barkley replacement in my opinion? In my opinion, it is, I don't know how you say his name. It's Salabos or Celebos or whatever, the new Arsenal loan. He was absolutely fucking amazing. He was so good. He was like Ramsey back in like the day, the Arsenal days. He was like absolutely bombing forward. He was getting into amazing positions. He was laying everyone off. He was trying to get the ball back. It's things that Arsenal just haven't had in so long. Arsenal have been working on this tiki-taki shite for ages, and it's just frustrating to watch, and it's a good thing they have a lot of money to spend on their strikers who can actually bomb forward and get past opponents and score on their own, right? Or find themselves in good positions, right? But they have this like attacking midfielder that actually is working towards getting the ball back, like without having to wait until, like, okay, we're transitioning into defense now. Okay, everyone back in defense. Let's let them come forward and let's go and tackle them in the middle of the park. Like, he doesn't wait. He's like, no, I'm going for it now. And you've seen what happened. He stole the ball, played it forward, and Urban and Aubameyang scored his goal. And that's exactly what you want. And on top of that, he's on fucking corners, and he's 5.5 million. This is an underpriced player. This is someone who is, like, I would say that he would be worth it at 7.5 million. And I probably would go for him at 7.5 million instead of Fraser if I was priced out in Martial. He's so good. 5.6. You're right. Sorry. Fuck me. It doesn't matter to me. Spoiler alert. It doesn't matter to me. The problem with Salabos or any Arsenal players is that they have 2 really, really bad fixtures. but this is a player that's going to be in your team just facilitating other transfers and actually scoring you a lot of points as well. So you've got someone who is cheap as chips, who allows you to get other people. He's got a great fixture run, the best fixture run actually. Let's have a quick look at the best fixture run in like 3 game weeks or something. So from game week 6 onwards, there you go. There's Arsenal right at the top, game week 6. And then if we increase that to 10 game weeks, he's still up there, right? I don't know if that's... Is it definitely game week 6 that it starts? Nope, game week 5 as well. He's got Watford. And then when we know he goes down because he's playing Tottenham. But, you know, that's a derby. So you could say that he has an extra incentive to play as good as he was. And a lot of people are saying that, you know, he's got these... He's playing for a team that rotate a lot. And I wrote about it in my last article that I did last week that, like, Arsenal just love rotating. But he just played so amazing. I cannot see them bench him. I can't see them not playing him. It would be crazy if they put him in their bench, because he is like, he held that attack together and he was everything. And then when they were in defense and they weren't playing with him, he was tracking back and getting those tackles in. Like, he's gonna be a bonus point magnet. It's gonna be crazy. And I watched the game and I watched the highlights. And then I was like hoping that I was like, don't Arsenal have good fixtures coming up? And then I was thinking of all the transfers I could make if I go from Fraser to him. And the fact that I can't say enough, right? I'm just going to show you my team. I transferred him in, lads. I transferred him in. I'm going to show you guys the team. Here we go. Here are my transfers. And it'll bring us nicely onto the Liverpool chat. Bam. Robertson's away. Double defense is got to fuck. Still felt weird not having 3 Liverpool players, and I couldn't afford Manny. So how do we look at the stats? How do we look at all the stats or the highlights? And I was like, yep, I'm having him. Firmino's in the team. Firmino's in for King. And then to top it all off, I've got Ceballos in midfielder. What do you think of that? Yeah? We like it? Because I hated it for the first 10 minutes, and then I kind of got back to the yeah, it's not bad, I like it. And then now I'm like, yes, I'm fucking going for this, man. I love it. I want your honest opinion, Jim. Jim Bob, Jimmo, Jimmy. I want your honest opinion. I'll explain the transfers in 2 seconds. It's not for me. Who did you get for Robertson? I got Dean. And that comes nicely to the rest of the Everton and Liverpool chat, okay? How do I put this? A lot of people aren't going to like the Firmino pick, and that's absolutely fine. I wasn't 100% sure on it myself. But I wanted to see... I couldn't not make the transfers because, as you guys are well aware, the market is absolutely insane volatile, right? Everyone is moving so quickly, and it's doing my head in, and it's probably doing everyone else's tits in, right? I did take a -4. Firmino and Murray's absolute ass. That's okay. Firmino, I really wanted to see how Rashford played this game. I really want to see how Son plays in game week 3. I really want to see how Pep, the Arsenal winger, plays in the next couple of game weeks. And this is the only time that I'm ever going to have 2 free transfers, probably, because there's going to be constant fires for the rest of the games. And so I felt like if I didn't go for a complete... I needed to downgrade 2 players and I needed to upgrade 1 so that I can easily just swap another 1 player to get who I want later on. And I don't know who that's going to be. But because I had 2 cheap kind of 6 or 6.5 million strikers, it meant that I couldn't really go for anyone except for Pookie and except for Barnes. And I just wasn't having that because it was making it way too easy to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go for these players, because that's all I could afford. So I put that in my mind and I was like, right, I really want to see how these players perform. It's early enough in the season that I don't really need to worry about it. And on top of that, I'm spending 14 million on Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, who have looked dodgy. The Liverpool defense have looked dodgy. So Firmino's really just a placehold until I can see what Son's doing, because that's who I'm really interested in. Pep as well. And Rashford, I wanted to wait till tonight, and I wasn't 100% on him because he's playing on the wing now. So that's really my thinking behind it. But the real reason that this works for me is because I have Dean, and Dean is the best defender to own, I think, and that's not just because of the points, right? I was looking at all Everton stats, and I was looking at everything that they've done, and really going through it. I spent all of Sunday just pouring all my thoughts and my time into like trying to make these correct. And even if Everton concede, Dean's attack is just too hard not to get. On top of that, he was their best defender. So he has the attack in his locker, he has the defense in his locker, he has the stats to back everything up. And his team have just found that they're clicking again. They're clicking the same way they clicked before the season ended last year. So it was really annoying to not have him, and I really wanted him, and I really didn't want to put 14 million into getting, Adrian fucking punting it out to Ings again. They play Arsenal next. Liverpool's fixtures, actually, if we look at them, and go through this again. Liverpool's, where are they? In the next 10 game weeks from now, they're really low. Now, I know they're fixture proof, and we should assume that they're fixture proof. But yeah, it's not the greatest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 6 teams in 10 games. Leicester as well. And by game week 8 or 9, I'm probably going to wildcard anyway. So this Firmino thing's not forever. It's just for now, really. Yeah, safe. Rah. Pookie has terrible fixtures. They're not the best. Chelsea and then West Ham and then City, right? I just want to see if it's not like, it feels way too knee-jerky for me. It feels way too knee-jerky. But a lot of people brought him in for the hat-trick, so that's fucking great for them. I love that. I'm just not into it myself. And yeah, he's tempting, but he's now risen twice, and I don't really want to go for anyone who's ridden, because I don't want to ruin my I don't want to downgrade 0.5 for a 0.2 unless I was going to also go for Martial. So yeah, I'm not 100%. Right. The market's fucking me off. What happened to courtesy of waiting until Friday evenings to make transfers? I know, right? That's the best thing. The thing I love about your 4-4-2 is you have high value in each position. So flexible. Yeah, that's the thing. I felt like trapped. I was like, I have to go for Barnes or Pookie because, I've got a 4-4-2. I didn't like that. Or sorry, because I had low value strikers. I didn't like that. Bearing in mind Liverpool only just lost that CS. Yeah, but they look so dodgy. Liverpool look so dodgy in defense. Like, Southampton could have scored 3. And that's so unlike Liverpool. There's something going on. And we know that it's because they're trying to get into this. Like, Tom said that on Twitter that Klopp came out and said, look, we're playing a high defense. We're not used to it. VAR is kind of making us have to change our stuff. And it's it's showing the cracks. And teams are noticing. And they also don't have the greatest fixtures. So I thought, I'm never going to be able to change it. I'm never going to be able to change it again. So I've just done it. And that's how it works. Don't know if you talked about it. We did talk about it. They'd beat Arsenal at home. Absolutely, I think they would. I've heard a few shouts for Yerry Mina. They didn't concede 2 though. That's true. Yeah, I looked at Mina as well, but it's just centre back versus full back, right? Mina did play well. West Ham away is not an easy game, to be honest. West Ham defense is shit though. I would agree. I would definitely agree. He can definitely score against both, but any team, I think Pookie could probably score. I genuinely reckon Norwich might get a result at home to Chelsea. Yeah, like Pookie, not many strikers can shoot 7 shots in a game, hit the target 6 times, and score 3 goals, right? That's just fucking phenomenal. And we have to remember that they played this year's Whipping Boys. Now, I know we don't, one of the learnings that I took from Game Week 2 is we really don't know who the Whipping Boys is, but Newcastle are probably going to be it. we can maybe say that it was a fluke against Norwich, but it wasn't. I don't think so. We'll see. It's too early to tell, but if I had to put my money on the whipping boy of 2019-20, it'll be Newcastle. But we'll have to see as they go along. Chelsea are a lost team. Pukki only needs a sniff, which makes him potentially quite fixture-proof. Yeah, he's the same as Jimenez, I think, of last year, right? Jimenez just found those openings and instead of assists, Pukki's getting hat-tricks, right? And that's awesome. But again, he rose, and we're not 100% sure yet. And I've decided to put my money in like known assets. Let's talk about Chelsea. I've written here, Chelsea, sad face. Chelsea, sad face. Chelsea just like one set piece, one corner. If that never happened, that's a clean sheet, and that's me sitting here smug on a rise probably. Because Zuma had bonus points in his locker. I think he was sitting at 2 bonus points at halftime, and then that happened and it all went to shit. But like, Chelsea improved from Manchester United 4-0 to losing 2 each to Liverpool and penalties, to then only just conceding against Leicester. Now that is an improvement, and I don't think it's the team. I think it's Lampard's tactical awareness, and he's a very fast learner. It seems he's improving every single time. So I think that because of the fires in my team, my fires I felt were King, Fraser, and double Liverpool defense, and then Murray is also a fire, and I can deal with him later. But yeah, like, Zuma isn't a fire. He's still only 5 million. I'm only spending 1 million more than the baseline, and I could obviously downgrade him if I want. And Chelsea's fixtures are phenomenal. So we can see here, I've got it up on the screen. Chelsea have got the second best fixtures. They only play Liverpool as a top team in the next 10 game weeks. I'm sure they're going to get clean sheets somewhere. And for me, having a Chelsea player isn't exactly a fire unless you've spent a lot on them, like 7.5. And to be honest, at this point in time, like, if you have Pulisic, he did well during the week. He might not have done that great against Leicester, but Leicester are a good side. Mount played well. It's only Barkley really that I would say you have an issue with. If you've got Barkley, you're sitting there and you're like, oh yeah, no, I've just bought into the idea that someone's taking penalties and he's not, and blah blah blah. Yeah, like, and he doesn't even play. I would definitely get rid of him. Improving just in time for Norwich. Typical. Yeah, so Tom says they're improving, and he's only 5 million, not with the transfer. Yeah, see, if he was 6 million, I would have just straight swapped him to Dean probably, right? But he's so cheap. He's only a fire if they concede the next 3 games and or he loses his place. And Zuma played fucking awesome. He didn't put a foot wrong against Leicester. He wasn't covering the Ndidi during the corner. He was just standing there, making sure no one blocked the keeper, and he was watching the runners from the near post. Right, it was Azpilicueta's, like, didn't even look to see who was coming to the right of him, and kind of didn't jump, and then that's it. Ndidi with a free header. So Zuma, for me, didn't put a foot wrong, and that's why he was on bonus points. He had so many good tackles in him. He had so many good runs. He was even dribbling through. I think I tweeted once saying he's fucking zooming. He was running through. So yeah, I have no problem with holding him. Absolutely fine. Did his job well. He was the big man in the back. Yeah, exactly. And he's got pace. You're right. So Awesome would be pushing it. Is this the Rocket League soundtrack in the background? Yeah, it's Monster Cat. I should get one of those little, what song we're listening to. It's royalty free. Is the main reason why we're listening to it is because it doesn't get blocked on YouTube. See, I'm not just a pretty face. All right. So, like I said, Chelsea have good fixtures, so we're not too worried about Zuma. And yeah, I think someone who is always getting that tackle and not being pushed past, played awesome as a defender. He's just not one of those distributors, right? He's not David Luiz. Emerson would be a class option if they could defend. Yeah, I wouldn't jump on now. That's something to note. Like I wouldn't bring any Chelsea players in right now. But if they can get their shit together and Lampard learns quickly on how to make actual substitutions before they concede, like, yeah, I reckon Emerson would be the next Alonso. I think he's done great. His heat map's amazing. His stats are great. He looks good. He just needs to get that defense covered so that he can bomb forward, not have to worry about tracking back. Right, who's next? We've talked about Pukki and Barnes. We've talked about Lundstrom, Salabos. Can anyone tell me how to pronounce his name? Calabez. I have no idea. Rashford, we talked about them. All right. If I could afford Mane, I would have him happily instead of Firmino. Mane looked out of this world. And we all have heard the stats on Twitter that he's actually playing better than Salah. He looks like he's playing better than Salah. He's even like giving the ball forward and stuff. Like he's passing. He was passing more than I've ever seen him before last game. And for someone who played like a full 90, I think he did, and during the week to then go and play at that standard, it was incredible. The problem is he's risen so much in price that it's just not worth it. You can't have Sterling, Kevin De Bruyne, and Salah and Mane in the team. It's just too difficult. So you would need to drop Salah for him. Ceballos. See, it's difficult. Ceballos. Oh, it's raw. That sounded like you have some foreign thing going on there. Ceballos. Imagine selling Salah after one game. It's tempting when Mane and Sterling are cheaper. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely wouldn't, like, Salah's not a fire. He's a mainstay keeper in your team. The only reason that you should ever get rid of Salah is if you're on wild card and you need the money and Mane's bombing it and Salah's just bombing. I don't think there's any reason to just jump ship at this stage in the game. I don't think it's worth wasting a transfer on. I think on wild card we can have a discussion about it. But yeah, no. I mean, he's still on penalties. He's still gonna get a ridiculous amount of points. And transferring Mane in now, you haven't got those points that you missed. You're still on Salah for game week 2. So there's not a real reason to do it. There's no evidence to suggest that Salah's not going to perform. It's not like he did badly. He just missed. If Salah lifted his shot an inch higher, they would have scored and there would be no problem. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I know, if Adrian just booted it up instead of passing it out, then it would be a clean sheet. We might be having a different discussion. Or if Salah scored, we might be having a different discussion. But it is what it is. I do like Mane and I wish he came on my team. And I did tinker. I spent an hour trying to see who I could get in my team. I couldn't even afford Caballos in my team with him. And that's ridiculous. So I was like, it's too much money. I'm just going to go for second best Firmino and then transfer him out later on if I see anyone better for the same price. I swear Salah misses that chance so often though. Yeah, but again, golden boot. Can't really complain. He can't complain. He is too good. Like, Mane's not going to get that penalty off him ever. So the fact that Mane got so many goals last season without penalties is something we definitely need to take note of, and it's something that Fantasy took note of, and that's why he's so expensive. So it's either Sterling, Mane, and Salah, or Sterling, Kevin De Bruyne, and one of the two. Can't get all four. The team just sucks. It just sucks unless you have no Liverpool defenders. Was Salah on corners against Southampton? Yeah, he was. He was on corners as well. So that's something to take note of. That's a bit better. I'm getting annoyed with my camera. I really need to sort my fucking lights out. Salah, Kevin De Bruyne, Sterling. That's exactly who I'm on. Right, so I did talk about Everton a little bit. Their defense is amazing, and Keane. Did you guys see Keane when he came on? He was incredible. He looked so good. He was like he carved out chances for himself. He shot twice more than Calvert-Lewin did in the entire game before he got subbed off. Like that's fucking big. Keane is gonna transform that attack as soon as he's fit. So it's gonna be Richarlison, it's gonna be Keane, Sigurdsson, and Bernard. I'm assuming. That is a good attack with Dean behind them, or if you've got Coleman. Everton have the fixtures to do wonders, and I needed a piece of that, so I got them. I've heard he might be going to 6.9. Yeah, so that was the thing. Like, if you look at the price changes, because I was having a look at them earlier. Let's have a look at the price changes. Where are you? Price change predictor. If you guys aren't familiar with this, so Pookie's going up again to 6.8. Sterling's going up to 12.2. Dunk is going up, which is hilarious. Brighton have the worst fixtures ever, and Lundstrom's going up, which is mental. I can't believe that. Looking at the other side, you can see Keane is safely there, just about to drop. I would love that. I would love for him to drop, because it means you could potentially go for Martial and Keane for the same price as, just on normal without any rises. 3 rises for Pookie, I know. But, I mean, that's what happens when you score 4 goals and you're 6.5, right? It's bound to happen. So, Cantwell is also about to go up. Peters there. Pickford. People trying to get a cheap way into Everton. And they probably have Adrian, or they're sick of Pope or whatever. Wan-Bissaka, but I'm sure that's going to stop. I love that Ryan and Dunk are going up. Now, just to double check, yep, Brighton have absolutely horrific fixtures. Southampton's decent, but after Southampton, Man City, Chelsea, Tottenham, Everton, Man United, Leicester. And in between there, they have Norwich at home, Aston Villa away, Newcastle away, and Burnley at home. So decent fixtures, just surrounded by absolutely horrible fixtures. I'm just not impressed by Brighton enough to keep Murray or keep Ryan or keep anyone. I definitely wouldn't be transferring them in. I think that is absolutely nuts. Dunk especially. I have Pope to rotate with Ryan, so not an issue. Lots of damaged ACLs. Yeah, Pope and Ryan rotating. I think I like that. I think I like that idea. Best 4.5 at the moment. Is that for defense? We did have a look last week. I can show you my my watch list. So my favorite defenders going forward watch list are Peters top, then Fredericks, then probably one of the Norwich defenders, depending, and then finally Montoya, but only because they're so attacking. If I was to go with someone kind of I think they're going to get some clean sheets as well, it would be Peters and Fredericks, and that's it. West Ham, like we've seen, are at the very top here for fixtures between game week 3 and game week 13. And Burnley, after these 2 bad fixtures, so if we start in game week 5, Burnley go up to second best from game week 5 onwards. So I reckon that Peters is a great choice for that. So if Zuma doesn't fucking pull his shit together, it's going to be Peters in there, I think, or Fredericks, and I'm going to go Pope almost definitely instead of Ryan. But yeah, so I think Peters, if you don't have Pope, and if you do have Pope, then Fredericks, and we'll keep an eye on a few others. Aaron's cross created Pookie's first goal, even if he didn't get the assist. Lewis outshone Aaron's against Saturday, by the way. Yeah, so that's why they're kind of both in my watch list, because I'm not 100% sure who I would go for. But I know that, aren't you are you Norwich? You're Norwich, I'm sure, Jimmy. Jim Bob, Jimmo. Jimmy. Tell me you're Norwich, right? You're Norwich? Definitely? I'm pretty sure I remember you are. You are. Awesome. I love that you are, because I know nothing about them. So you're saying that Lewis is better? I'm going to write that shit down, actually. Lewis. over Aaron. Thank you so much. I'll make sure to tell the general tomorrow. Lewis was bombing forward all match. He's so athletic. Well, he is a professional athlete, so I would hope fucking so. But then again, so's Murray, and he was absolute pants. He was just a punt, so I'm not so annoyed. But yeah, I'll need to deal with him, and I'm not 100% sure on how to deal with him. But good thing I don't have to deal with it right now. I'm sure that if I don't find any players that are 6 million or under that I want, I'll probably downgrade Zuma and upgrade Murray. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few players that didn't score, but they looked good. Or they did score, or, you know, they did okay, or blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to... The others, not any team in specifically. I went into team specifics in my article. You can find it by typing in article like that. It comes up with my Monday after shit. You can go check that out. So I looked at Chelsea, Everton, West Ham, Man City, Leicester, Liverpool, Brighton, and then I put a little thing at the end for Barnes and Pookie. So check that out if any of those seem like you want to go into depth a little bit more with them. But right now I'm just going to talk about random players. So no like professional sprinter level, of course, as an athlete. No, I was only kidding, Jimmy. I know, I love you, don't you worry, I was only joking. That's cute that you wanted to make sure that I knew that you were being serious. Okay, so players that did well that I don't want but I want to keep watching are Lanzini, Trossard, Pepe, and obviously Kevin De Bruyne if you don't have him. I have him right now and I want him, so he's not really part of it, but I've written him down as a reminder because I haven't even thought about Kevin De Bruyne, to be honest, because he's in my team. And if he wasn't in my team, I would be doing everything in my power to get him in my team. I'm really glad that I started with him, so I don't have to rip my team up to get him. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. Lanzini was like the shining star in an otherwise kind of meh West Ham attack. I'm well aware of just how bad they looked. I'm well aware that they really desperately do need Haller or Ale in their team. They need that holding striker to make everything work, and they were missing, you know, some of their attack to injury, so therefore they're not going to look great. But Lanzini did actually look good, and every time he was on the ball, he looked like he knew what he was going to do, knew what he wanted to do, knew how to implement the tactics, was waiting for players, and it was almost like he knew where those players should be, and then he would make the pass, and they weren't there, and he's frustrated that they're not where they're supposed to be, which I love, because it means that eventually when they do get, you know, Anderson playing fully fit, and when Alays comes back, they're going to look good. And I know a few people have went for Lanzini. I definitely would recommend that. He's only 6.5 million. He's got some of the best fixtures in the game. I think it's a great pick. He's definitely cheap enough. I would go for that. Trossard is almost on the exact same thing. He looked really, really fresh. He had a goal taken away from him via VAR, which was obviously correct because VAR is never wrong, despite what you might think. And then he got his goal, and it was a decent goal. It's just Brighton's fixtures, they're just pants, and we don't know how well they're going to be playing against the half-decent teams. They've only really had rubbish teams to face, not rubbish, but, you know, bottom teams to face, and they haven't done particularly well against West Ham. They did do well, obviously, against, was it Watford they played the first game? Or Southampton, someone? I forget who it was, but they didn't really have the stats to back up that 3-0 win. It was kind of a lucky win with the XG and XA, so I would probably avoid Trossard despite him looking good, unless you're going to leave him as like an enabler. But for me, Trossard just didn't do well enough. No Brighton player did well enough to warrant me wanting to A, keep the ones that I have, or B, bring any more in. I would probably just get rid of all of them over the course of the next couple of game weeks because they're just not worth it. Lewis over Aaron. I love that. That's so good. Next is Pep or Pepe. I don't know how you say him. West Ham have some great forwards. When they hit some form, they'll do great. They've had 2 not easy games so far. Yeah, I mean, Brighton away is difficult, but I would expect them to do better with the attack that they have. I'm 100% on your side there, Tom. Pepe for Arsenal. So Arsenal in general's attack looked good. They probably should have scored a bit more. I'm so glad that Lacazette is back because he's just such a good striker. We talked about their new attacking midfielder, but I want to look at their winger, right? So they bought this now 90 million or 80 million winger, and he played his first game, didn't start, and he was phenomenal. He was so good. Like that nutmeg. He shot quite a few times. I mean, he didn't hit the target. I'm pretty sure he missed, but they were close. It wasn't like he was just doing nothing. He knew where he was supposed to be. He's obviously got the skill. And he's down in price. I'm pretty sure he dropped, which is great. Pepe. Didn't he drop? Sure he dropped. He did, 9.4. So it means that, you know, again, he enables Barnes, or he enables anyone who's risen in price. And so did Eriksen. Eriksen actually dropped as well, which is phenomenal, because it means if he starts doing well, then that's someone else to jump in. So when you're looking at the price rises, you need to make sure that you're looking at who actually dropped as well, so you can add them to your watch list and make sure that you know that they can double up with someone who's risen to keep your base value the same, right? Tom the Tosser. Imagine being called FPL something and only getting 41 points in any given game week. That's funny. Thanks very much, Tom. Yeah, Tosser. That's a really nice thing to say. I'm sorry I can't have a great game week every single week. I would love that. Didn't really work out that way. I'm 10th in the big fat sexy lead. Not too shabby. Oh man, that's fucking amazing. Let's have a look. I'm gonna find you. League, do you mind if I find you? Want me to give you some tips and tricks? Aye man, Tom, go for it. Interested to know your OR last year, Tom the Tosser. Dave's big fat sexy league standings. You don't care. Alright. I'm so lonely. Kicking in there at the very top. 160 points. That's fucking mental. I think he did really, really well last game week. Yeah. Decent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ivan. Bam. Is this your team, Jim Bob? Is this your team? Nope, you're not Ivan. You said you were 10th. Oh, I'll be here. James. Get your tetties out. 71, there you are. Fucking hell, man. Lundstrom there starting over Walker Peters. That's probably a good idea, right? A no-brainer, really. And you had Pookie. Wow, what a game week. 1, 2, 3, 4 performers. 4 performers did absolutely amazing. And then you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blanks, including your captain. Wow. That is unbelievably lucky. Well done on Pookie, my man. Well done. Whoa. What's happening? Don't know rank. What a week. Bit easy, this FPL business. Ah, you're doing well. Do you want to trade teams? Actually, you know what? So you've got some interesting things to happen now. So you've got Fraser. You've got the striking force. You don't really need them. You're going to be changing these two, I'm assuming, Fraser and Perez, right? And then you're going to be looking to Ryan to see what you want to do with him afterwards. But you've got pretty much everyone set. You might want to deal with the Liverpool stuff, but you don't have to. And there's no one really you can get to anyway. Unless you go down Robertson, down Perez, and up Fraser to Martial somehow. I don't even know if that's possible. But not Martial, Mane. But yeah, that's fucking good. De Bruyne's a bargain. Tom, the tosser, you're absolutely right. If you don't have De Bruyne, you probably should. Game week 3 is quite the conundrum. Yeah, I think you're going to be fine though. Kane's got decent fixtures coming up. Pookie is obviously a hold fast. Fraser Perez you can get rid of and get some good players in. De Bruyne and Salah's a stay. I think you're fine. I think Lundstrom, Walker Peters, I think those kind of back and forth will be absolutely fine. I would probably put Walker Peters on, Lundstrom on the bench, maybe. Actually, who's he playing? Southampton? No, it's Leicester. Yeah, maybe bench him. Get Walker Peters on, and if Walker Peters doesn't play, you've got Lundstrom coming off the bench. Decent. Martial and Mount over the two mids. I don't like Mount enough. I think his goal was lucky, and I disagree with Chelsea attack until we know they can actually attack. I'm not 100% sure I like it. Potentially not. Potentially. But I mean, you're doing well enough, and you can absolutely punt on it. You're 10th. You're fucking 130,000 or something, or 30,000, 32,000. So yeah, I think go for it. Whatever. You've earned it. You've earned a punt. None of the mids at that price are any good, except for Celebos or Celebos or Celabos or however you say his name. He's the only one worth it, I think, at that price. And if he doesn't work out, you can absolutely just get rid of him, get another player, downgrade somewhere else. Like, you're fine. You'll be great. And we'll be wildcarding soon. That's something to remember. Like, in the next 5 game weeks, most of us will have used our wildcard, so we don't have to worry about it. We'll be absolutely fine. Well done, buddy. I'm impressed, Jimmy. Jim Bob Jimmo. Super impressed. Right. I'm gonna look at Twitter now. We'll do is there any other questions? Does anyone have any other questions before I start looking at viewer RMTs? I know Tom's wanting one, so we got that. I'll read that later. There's a few things. Yeah. Ceballos will leave money in the bank. That's exactly right. He's just too good. He's so cheap. You can skip the team that I sent in now. Yeah, man. Well, you subscribed. You get such a huge part of the thing. Yeah, your team's banging. Ryan, I've got. You're probably going to have to get rid of him later, but we don't have to do it just now. Fraser Perez out for Martial and Celabos. And then you don't even need to take a hit. You could probably deal with not having Sterling later if Kane doesn't work out. You know? I think you're golden. You'll be great. Liam, still messaging me. You're supposed to be in your holidays, buddy. Get out of this chat. Wow, you messaged a lot. I will chat to you in a second. Alright, so if you haven't sent your team already, you can find my Twitter if you scroll down, or just type in that. And here's some other commands for you, just in case you're worried. Oh, I can't spell commands. That's great. Commands. I spent way too much time tinkering with FPL on my holiday. Yeah, man. Like, every time I go on holiday, I'm still tinkering. I'm still looking at it. It's just an obsession. It's Raw's just sent me your shit. Well done. Let me go and see who the first person is. Jimbo, Jim Bob, Jimmy, Jim. We've watched and we've looked. Absolutely fine. Oh, that's fun. You've got my stream up on your it's Raw. You've got my stream up on your picture. That's funny. I like that. Right, James sent his team. Let's have a look.